This is really risky. They might do support glaive and lane the Lyra, because Lyra has a AoE damage that can take out the pet, so potentially they might want to lane Lyra here. We'll see what they decide.
The issue I have with lane Lyra in this particular instance is it severely dampens her sustainability. The heal becomes incredibly weak when you have her in build the crystal power, because it scales off of health. And so with the Adagio on the other side, like, you need to be able to keep up with the healing.
I mean, maybe
they can do Celeste here. I mean, Celeste would be good because late game with Lyra and a weapon glaive, Celeste. Oh yeah, Celeste is gonna carry really hard. Finn. Okay, so they are gonna lane a Lyra as expected with a weapon Finn.
weapon glaive.
Weapon glaive.
And we have seen Von see weapon Finn before. I don't think I really want to have that be the way this ends, though. I gotta be honest. TeamSoloMid, how are they gonna end things with their last pick here? What are they gonna lock in to deal with a Finn? I'm still fairly confident Flicker could work.
Oh,
but they're gonna go
okay.
for Kestrel, actually.
The Kestrel is interesting to me here. Unless they're going, I mean, if you're going weapon Kestrel, I don't think it's as good into the Finn. Like, the Crystal Kestrel I think is better because Finn's going to be that giant body in front, and it's going to be eating up all your Glimmer shots. And so the Crystal Kestrel, you at least gets the spray behind him. But with Petal and Adagio, it's incredibly unlikely that we're going to see a Crystal Kestrel.
It's coming out from both of these teams so far. TSM kind of walking into Cloud9 right now. Is that exactly the thing you want to do? As Joel of Joseph goes very aggressive on Von C, picks up the kill. FlashX almost kills I Love Joseph, but Cloud9 already on the aggression. Can they kill FlashX? Polite company to bring him forward. FlashX goes down to Gabe Vizzle. Cloud9, they're off to a much better start this game.
TSM trying their early aggression. C9 were ready for it. That is one of the problems with Petal, especially early on against the weapon power glaive. You really do struggle because of that afterburn. And obviously you don't quite have the kite potential when you have Petal will struggle. As long as the forced accords are getting blocked, then that's fine. But they also have the follow-up of the portal from the Lyra. So, you know, there are a lot of ways to get straight on top of this Petal, a lot of ways to follow up from her trampoline as well. So, I mean, Petal does okay if she's able to avoid all of the gap closing techniques and then able to just, you know, punish them once they've used them all, because then you can just chase them down with the Frostburn. But before that, you know, if you're not able to escape all of that gap closing coming out from C9, Petal can struggle.
Yeah, I mean, there is so much gap closing. Realistically, I Love Joseph with the afterburn, old school as well with the passage. It's going to be very, very hard for TSM to get away. But Beshchakane, he is on the laning Kestrel. Probably not going for the crystal build, as obviously Von C will be doing that. But I mean, it's a very interesting composition coming out from Cloud9 equally on the other side, because they've got two massive frontliners in I Love Joseph and Gabe Vizzle, so you can imagine old school is going to be quite safe. And Cloud9, they're just trying to take control of the jungle where they didn't have so much success last time.
Yeah, and they're kind of leaving Von C to his own devices, though. He's able to just pretty much happily farm his back. C9 not putting up the same amount of pressure that TSM did in that last game. And I think Von C will be fairly happy with this. He's kind of had a little bit of a reprieve from that early level 1, and now he's going to be working up towards that Frostburn ASAP. I think that's absolutely fine for Von C. He'll be very happy in this situation. And also FlashX and Beshchakane being given some time in lane to farm up too. Even Von C choosing to be a little bit aggressive here. We'll have to be a little bit careful, you'd have to say. But feels confident enough here to go against I Love Joseph.
Yeah, takes a lot of damage for it, though. Doesn't even steal away the Treant, as the Minions are taking a little bit of a beating as well from the massive ice club that is I Love Joseph. And with that, Cloud9, they are going to return to the lane. Same with TSM. Not going to be doing it all too much, I can imagine. Old school, especially on this lane Lyra pick, something of my favourite, is going to pick up the alternating current very, very shortly, I can imagine. And it's going to be a fairly classic build, I would have thought, with the Broken Myth as well as the Eve of Harvest. You might want to say.
Well, definitely the alternating current and obviously the Broken Myth there. I think the rest of it will come down to what they want to achieve. Shatterglass will help him burst Von C's minions if that sigil comes out a little bit more readily. Eve of Harvest, yeah, I mean, if he wants to play the sustain game, but you already have a lot of sustainers in Lyra's kit, so you might not necessarily need the Eve of Harvest, but the energy regeneration is very helpful. So yeah, there's a couple of options here. We'll have to see where he goes throughout the course of this game. Von C continuing to be aggressive here. TSM not deterred by that early game. and are going to try and take as much as they can from C9 in that forward camp jungle.
Yeah, they want to make sure they can punish Cloud9 where they can, but alternating current has been finished from Old School, and the fountain as well for Gabe Vizzle. So they will be a nice little power spikes there, and that did go over to, I believe, Joseph. So he's actually going to steal a little bit of jungle away from Von C, but it's not going to deter Von C all too much. Going to farm up his backs, then probably return either to the lane or to his base. We'll have to wait and see. But other than that, I mean, TSM, they are up a game up right now, and arguably strongest team in NA right now. And Cloud9, they are putting up a hell of a fight in this early game at least. 1k gold lead in their back pockets, but I can imagine that's only just off the early kills.
Yeah, the early kills. Got a couple of CS advantages. You know, you got 10 for Old School over Best Check NA. And I know Josie's got a small lead over Von C. So all of that kind of adding up right now for C9. It's how easily they can capitalize on this, though. Jaws, when you're against a petal, you kind of want to make sure you're putting pressure on her early, because as soon as she gets towards that later game where Munions start doing some real damage and you get the frostburn to be able to kite, that's where you're going to struggle. But they've got lots of ways to take out Vonsi's Munions easily. The Quibble does a lot of damage. The splash damage from I Love Joseph on this glaive when he gets a critical strike, Old School Sigil. I mean, those Munions are going to have a tough time surviving in these fights, and if the Munions die, that means Petal's damage is reduced severely. So almost totally. So yeah, I think a lot of ways to deal with these annoying little petal Munions, and that's good for C9. They definitely drafted a comp that does well into this. I mean, look how quickly they go down to a Quibble there.
Yeah, all too fast, and they will end up spawning again, but yeah, like you said, damage is almost halved as soon as those Munions do disappear off the face of the fold. Vonsi is going to return to his own base, as yet again, Best Chukane is going to be just pushing this wave, just making sure he can pressure Cloud9. I mean, I'm quite surprised, actually, TSM haven't just retracted into their own jungle even a little bit more here, because Cloud9, they've got such a massive early game advantage, but TSM, they know how to play into these deficits, or do they? Because they've just walked into Gabe Vizzle, polite company. It's going to get blocked, actually, as FlashX does get the retreat off as well. That will be Cloud9 just forcing TSM back here, but Gabe Vizzle hasn't hit the level 6. FlashX going to walk in, going to face check this brush, not where they want to be whatsoever. Best Chukane gets instantly killed as FlashX is going to go fairly low as well. I Love Joseph is going to secure himself a kill. They're going to go towards the gold mine as well.
That's very unlike TSM for me, making that face check play. FlashX didn't have any flares. There was no way they could check it. They could have just rotated back up to lane. I think they were, at this point, likely to have to relinquish the gold mine anyway. Maybe they felt that they had to check, though. I mean, in my opinion, it was a mistake. Like, whenever you make a face check, I always think it's a mistake. But maybe there was a part of TSM where they said, well, maybe we have to check this, you know. He forced it towards the Munions, so at least he gets some work done with that ability. But yeah, maybe they felt they had to face check Shores. Maybe there was like, or even they felt confident if FlashX walked in and Gift of Fired that they'd have that advantage to potentially win from range, but didn't work out for TSM. Luckily to only lose 1 kill.
Yeah, very, very lucky indeed. And if you can imagine it, Gabe Vizzle being a level 6 at that point, it would have ended a little bit more disastrously, as there's no Crucible, but there are 2 blocks on the side of Best Chuck and Flash X, so not too much of an issue. They will be able to block that if it's incoming. Just Von C without one of those for the time being. He's actually going to pick up a very early infusion. It's going to sit in his inventory at the moment. Only 8 minutes into the game, so they really want to make sure they can actually put up much more of a fight than they have been already.
Well, 9 minutes tends to be the time where North American teams like to buy infusions and capitalize on them. Around the level 8 to 9 mark. Generally feel that they get a lot of value out of it. A lot of big team fights are won in that area. You can capitalize with tier 1 turrets and gold mines quite readily. So they're going to be happy to just say, okay, infusion here is important for us. And Vonsi's one of the sort of the guys that actually plays with infusions and really values them as part of an early game team fight tool as well. So got level 8 now, so have a little bit of effect. He might end up popping it fairly soon. Will they defend this tier 1 turret? No, they won't.
No, forced to court though, comes in from Gabe Vizzle. Flash X is caught up in the middle of it all. He's going to go really low. Joseph Jib jives and dodges in. 1 kill traded over backwards and forwards. TSM, Cloud9, they're trying to kill somebody. Old School is going to have to run away. Vonsi is going to chase him down. Other Munion's going to be able to kill him. I think they are very, very close. Vonsi finally picks up the kill, and Best Chukane is going to chase down Gabe Vizzle as well. So TSM, that fight did go in their favor finally, maybe, come on, Best Chuck, you can do it. One more hit. Nah, there we go. Picks it up. So they do trade 3 kills up there for themselves, but they do lose a couple and La Turret as well.
It was a big gift of fire from FlashX that hit a lot of people, then combo with Von C's spontaneous combustion as well. It was a perfect fight for TSM to have to turn things around. Frostburn has been finished by Von C, so he's got control of the team fights now. So if he's not the target that's getting focused, suddenly those Munions are making life very difficult for both I Love Joseph and Old School to find correct positioning. This is a good time for TSM, and Von C obviously had that infusion as well, so a lot of damage coming out from him there. They just played that team fight really well, really did. And, I think C9 felt that they had a good opportunity. They had the big forced accord that came out. They felt that they could make something happen with it, but unfortunately, that kind of clustered them up, and clustering up against a petal is not exactly where you want to be, Jaws.
No, definitely not. And with that, TSM will push this wave out. Cloud9 did look like they wanted to push it actually for the gold miner, but decided against it in the end, as they do send Old School to just kind of clear that one. And TSM and Cloud9 maybe looking for a little something here. FlashX kind of caught again. And, forced to call, gets dragged in. Burst Judgment's going to come down. It's not going to stun anybody. The damage is going to go through, but FlashX just ends up trading his life up there. Cloud9 are going to take this gold miner, and that Crucible was just an inch too late.
Yeah, it needs to be on point. When you're playing against a Finn, the number one thing that you need to be able to do is manage to hit your Crucibles against the Forced Accord. It kind of negates everything that Finn can do with that ability. If you're not blocking them, it's just a huge disadvantage for your team going into team fight situations and defending. So, yeah, I mean, FlashX will know. Like, there's no need to tell him any more than that. He needs to be hitting those Crucibles, and he'll probably be trying incredibly hard to make sure that that is happening throughout the course of this game. Wants to make sure that he's obviously really keying on to that very important item to be able to hit against the Finn.
Yeah, as soon as he hits him, that's going to be really it for Gabe Vizzle. If TSM manage to kite back away from the Finn after that, it's pretty much free game for them and free kills for them as well. But yeah, if he does hit them, it's game over for TSM, really.
Interesting you're seeing Gabe Vizzle go for a contraption here, third item, over something like the War Treads. I actually think War Treads might be better as a third item, just because, that movement speed, very important against the petal, very important against chasing down Kestrel, but I think maybe they value trying to spy Best Chuck NA out of his active camo more than anything else. I think that was... FlashX is getting itchy fingers here, dude. That was a super early Crucible, I guess, expecting the pull from Gabe Vizzle. That was a preemptive one, and Gabe Vizzle didn't pull the trigger. TSM lucky because Gabe Vizzle looked for a pull over the wall there.
Yeah, did grab a couple of Munions again, but yeah, very, very close to being bad for TSM. That was, maybe just popped it just in case. I mean, the cooldown's only on 20 seconds remaining, so, it's not too big at this stage. But the problem is, if he does keep blowing them accidentally, and Gabe Vizzle hasn't used the Forced Accord, it's going to be a bit of a problem for TSM.
Yeah, it really is.
TSM.
I mean, FlashX probably mind gaming himself now, just needs to reset, come down, say, okay, really important that I just make sure I do exactly what I was doing, with my lance, specifically being on point with my mechanics, making sure I'm using the Crucible when I absolutely need to. Gabe Vizzle seems to know that they are over the wall here. He might look for one of those big Finn over the wall pulls, but C9 going for a flank. This could be dangerous for TSM.
It could be indeed. TSM have been spotted out, but they spot Old School. Passageway is going to get followed through. Versus Judgment is only going to land on Gabe Vizzle. Takes minimal damage. Forced to call comes through. It's going to be blocked this time, though. But look at FlashX. His health bar just melting. Finally getting chunked back up. Old School is trying to trade up some of this damage. He finally ends up falling. Old School is going to be able to take up the kill. And Best Chuck NA is going to fall as well. Von C is on the retreat, but Joseph is going to find him. Von C did pick up Gabe Vizzle on the back of that, but Cloud9, they are going to chase him down, or at least clear the minion wave, as Von C is going to be the last member alive for TSM. Another fantastic team fight for Cloud9.
Yeah, it was good positioning for them. I like what Best Chuck tried to do there, but unfortunately, Bright Bulwark kind of stopped him in his tracks. And again, I Love Joseph got the damage at this point in time to pressure Von C, who's only just got a little bit of armor behind him. Again, one of the major things that Petal struggles with is people that can gap close and people that can burst her. And right now, Von C doesn't really have many tools to deal with I Love Joseph, who's just jumping at him and slamming down a lot of damage. Really struggling. Those Munions are going down really quickly as well, Jaws. They are, basically struggling in these team fight situations. So actually, the petal damage at this point in time is feeling a little bit lackluster. Definitely FlashX has become a major target who's got alternating current. We've got an alternating current on FlashX, everybody. He's going aggressive on this Adagio. Wants to be a damage threat in his own right. So trying to put, I guess, pressure on I Love Joseph, can put pressure on Old School if he gets that Gift of Fire down. This is something that you sometimes see Captain Adagios do, but I was not expecting it here for FlashX. Gone for the... He's even going further into the CP build. He's picked up a crystal bit as well, so one can only assume that that is going to go even further, plus this alternating current. This is going for a triple damage threat composition coming out from TSM.
Question is, will it work at this stage of the game? Sentry is going to go down again. Cloud9, they have got a big gold lead in their favor, 4,000 in their pockets. But Infusion's coming out from them as well. I mean, and the Kraken just coming on the board. I mean, realistically, is that a good thing that FlashX is going this route of triple damage? Because maybe his team needs an Atlas Pauldron just to kind of slow up Old School, and I'm just not sure how this can actually work out for them. I mean, they've got the damage to kind of back up any meaningful engage, but the engagements have all come from Cloud9.
Well, Old School doesn't... Yeah, maybe. I mean, Atlas Pauldron kind of okay against... Old School. You probably wouldn't consider it hugely, but I think that the major issue is that obviously Von C is having a little bit of problems with his damage output in this particular game because of how easy it is for these Munions to get taken down by C9. And what you do here, and actually FlashX has sold the Piercing Shard and going for some ally. I think he's thought better of going full damage here. But what this does mean is that it's easier for TSM to deal with I Love Joseph when he gets to that front line, because you can just smack Gift of Fire down and be super aggressive onto I Love Joseph, so that when he does find an afterburn, maybe you can deal with him first, and then you just got Gay Vizzle and Old School to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for sure, but I completely agree. Selling that Piercing Shard, probably the best thing to do. Forced Accord is going to get blocked again. Nice work from TSM. FlashX hasn't got that tricky fingers just yet. Has been using them very, very well. Crystal Sentry is going to go down. Versus Judgment is going to get channeled. FlashX has got a little bit of damage on his side, but not doing too much. Gabe Fizzle taking a lot in the front line, but Joseph goes in yet again. But Old School is going to have to be the target in this fight, but TSM just can't seem to find him whatsoever. That passageway being followed left, right, and center. Old School picks up one kill. TSM just kind of routed at this point. Von C just cannot stay alive in these fights at all. And FlashX, yet again, the last member alive, will end up falling. That will be an ace coming through for Cloud9, and the Kraken is going to get taken as well.
Best Chuck struggling to do any damage. He's being really heavily focused by Old School, stopping him from finding good positioning. TSM was split there. I thought for a second it was going well for them. The spontaneous combustion was landing onto grouped up targets. They were getting both healing and damage out in one foul, swift move. But unfortunately, there you can see that the Von C easily repositioned, wasn't able to block the afterburn properly. He then became a target, had to back out. Best Check and A tried to reposition right into the middle of the fight to find a kill, but couldn't do so. And again, the damage output and burst and the ability to deal with these Munions incredibly easily from C9 means that TSM's actual teamfight capabilities are starting to struggle. I'm not sure where TSM go from here. They've got to, they can't really rely on Von C right now because a lot of his damage output is being hampered. There isn't that much protection coming through for Best Chuck. He's kind of having to kite by himself the entire time. And FlashX picking up that alternating current is good for him, but it's not a major damage output at this point in time. And they're going to have to just desperately defend against this Kraken if they want to try and keep their hopes alive in this second game.
Yeah, it does look like TSM are just going to be able to take that one out. Although Cloud9, they are advancing on TSM's base now. They are just going to get a little chunk damage down onto this turret. Light Company used as well. Does look like Cloud9 are going to go for this disengage. Forced Accord used. Von C gets pulled in. FlashX is going to get punted away as well by I Love Joseph. And Old School almost assassinating Von C. Follows the passageway through and gets it as well. Nice one shot, one kill. Isn't going to land. I Love Joseph is just going to be able to chunk that one up. Not a problem. That turret almost falling there, and Von C just getting caught on the wrong side of that Forced Accord.
Von C is so susceptible to that damage from Lyra as well because of the range. I Love Joseph provides the main distraction, and Old School can just land big, hitting auto attacks.
Forced Accord into the double quibble as well. First Judgment is going to come down, but yet again, Best Chuck falls, and FlashX, last member alive. Cloud9, I think they've done it. That's going to be the ace. That's going to be the turret and the crystal. That will mean Cloud9 are going to take this the second game in this best of 3.
Wow, Cloud9 coming back in this finals. They found the remedy to deal with TSM, came from early aggression. Quibbles really dealing easily with Von C's Munions. They really put a stopper in this